Because I swear! By Sarah1281. Chapter 23. Tsunade bet on Sakura. Neji came at her quickly from the start, and Sakura had never been so grateful to have learned to predict and avoid an enemy's attack during her tenure as Tsunade's personal punching bag. Fortunately, Neji was almost impossibly arrogant, and all he'd seen of her was her basic taijutsu-only fight with Hinata, in which she hadn't even used her monstrous strength. One clean hit from her ought to be enough to take down Neji, but then if Neji managed to block up her chakra, then she would be out of options due to her lack of a readily available second chakra source like Naruto had relied on. While she was fairly certain Neji could use all those upper-level main house Hyuga techniques he wasn't supposed to know already, she also knew he wouldn't waste them on someone he just referred to as a civilian. Of course, odds of her landing a really good hit on him weren't very high, so a couple of not-so-good ones might have to suffice. Sakura jumped back a few feet, annoyed. In 5 minutes of exchanging blows, Neji had managed to seal up half of the chakra points in her left arm. Just lovely. He threw kunai at her, which she lazily caught and tossed back. He really wasn't taking her seriously, was he? At least he'd shut up about fate, though. You see, we've barely started and already you've shown that you are no match for me, Neji said, proving she'd spoken too soon. Still, at least it wasn't as bad as when he'd whined to Naruto about how he could never understand having an ostracizing symbol. Ostracizing? Like anyone outside of the Hyuga even cared about that stupid seal. Plus, his attempt to kill the most progressive heiress the Hyuga had likely ever had was also kind of counterproductive. It had kind of confused her at the time, but looking back, she really didn't begrudge Naruto his maniacal laughter at that. You've yet to even land a hit. Not that it would matter. We'll just see about that, Sakura growled, charging at him with her right fist pulled back. Then she raised his right arm almost casually to block her strike. Sakura had to admit the look on his face when her punch broke his arm was priceless and almost made up for his monologuing. It didn't nearly make up for his threat of further monologues post-match, though. What did you do? He demanded. I broke your arm, she said innocently. What did it feel like? Neji's eyes narrowed. Looks like she just pissed him off. Good! Don't you think we should be heading back soon? Sasuke asked. Why should we? Naruto asked, downing yet another bowl of ramen. Kara had decided to head back shortly after Sakura, but Naruto hadn't finished his third helping of everything on the menu yet. Well, Sakura's match can't possibly take that long, and I'm up after her, Sasuke replied. So, I still have my Sasuke clone and my Naruto clone in place, so when the match is over, I'll let you know, Naruto promised. That's great, but I was already late to my prelim match, and I don't want to be late again, Sasuke told him. After all, that's what really killed me my first time through. Sasuke, there's a difference between being 5 or 10 minutes late and not showing up for hours on end, forcing all of the matches to be rearranged, and still almost being too late to compete, Naruto pointed out. Last time I was supposed to be the second match, and this time I'm the 5th, before Tamari and Shikamaru and... who else made the finals anyway? Sasuke wondered. Shino and Gekuro, Naruto answered. But boy forfeited, so that didn't buy you any time. Shikamaru's match bought me every last minute, I'm sure, Sasuke agreed. And the fact that you only got to fight for 5 minutes or so and were showing increasing signs of instability can't have helped your cause either, Naruto reminded him. That seal was not my fault, Sasuke insisted. You still had it, and you still were kind of publicizing the fact that you had issues, even if you didn't feel the need to go into them, Naruto paused. Well, not until your monologue at the Valley of the End. Oh, you cannot complain about that. You wanted to know, Sasuke claimed. I really didn't, Naruto disagreed. I just wanted to know why you were leaving. And I told you, Sasuke said, crossing his arms irritably. And you couldn't have done that without telling me your whole life's story? Naruto demanded. Can anyone? Sasuke challenged. That's the philosophy you base your whole therapy jutsu shtick on it, isn't it? Point! We'll head back when I'm done with this bowl. If it weren't for the fact that Neji was fighting one-handed, his increased viciousness would probably mean it was over for Sakura. Then again, if it hadn't been for the fact that she'd pulverized his hand, he wouldn't be that mad now, would he? Tragically, Neji had managed to seal up several chakra points on her right arm, too, so lethal punches were out. That didn't mean that she was helpless as far as defensive taijutsu by any means, and in fact, kind of a blessing in disguise as she no longer had to worry about him landing blows on her arms, since he'd done so several times already. If he managed to get past her defenses and attack her organs, then she'd be in trouble, so her arms would be taking as many hits as she needed them to. Even if he was taking her seriously now, most of his heavy hitters required 2 hands, so even if she couldn't use chakra through her hands, she wasn't in too bad of a shape. There, a break in Neji's defenses, and she took it. Sakura aimed a chakra-infused kick to Neji's stomach and was pleased to hear several ribs cracking. Neji stayed down for a moment, then struggled to his feet. He seemed to be having difficulty breathing. "Can you continue?" Obito asked. Neji looked around speculatively for a moment before shaking his head. "It's no good. My lungs punctured," he said slowly. "I don't... How could you..." "In a straight-up match, I probably couldn't yet," Sakura admitted. "I have a long way to go to get up to where I feel I should be. Just the same, today was a perfect opportunity to have a straight-up match, but you didn't take it. You underestimated me because you saw my pink hair and my lack of a ninja clan and assumed that I don't take this seriously. I do. If you want to get to know people, get to know me, and then make your judgments. Feel free to do so before and to insist that you know people's destiny. It's arrogant beyond belief and could very well be wrong. You should have won today. Think about why you didn't." "I don't think I've ever been more shocked in my life," Kakashi said. "Well, there was that one time I found that squirrel and talked my team into going back and... No, this is somehow still more shocking." "So this turn of events is surprising?" the Kage inquired. "Less than half a year ago, she was a fangirl who graduated on the strength of a written exam," Kakashi explained. "I see," the Kage said. "That's quite a turnaround. You must be a very gifted teacher." "It sure seems that way, doesn't it?" Kakashi asked cheerfully. "Why would it only seem that way?" Kakashi asked. "I didn't say it only seemed that way," Kakashi lied. "Then why say it seemed that way instead of it's true?" Itachi pressed. "Because I was trying to be modest," Kakashi suggested. "I don't know, stop nitpicking." "Training under Tsunade for the past month definitely helped," Minato noted. "She's always been demanding but a good teacher." "Oh?" the Kage asked. "That girl was working with Tsunade? I thought I recognized those attacks, channeling chakra through her punches and kicks. It must have been a race against time, as that boy could seal up her chakra." "Indeed, Sakura had a definite point about that match, though," Minato agreed. "Neji was controlling most of the match, and Sakura only got 2 hits in, but she made them count. Taking into account how easily he took out Kankuro, I'd have to say that the match would very well have gone in Neji's favor had he taken her seriously. While using your best moves from the start isn't always wise, goading her like that? He obviously has some unresolved issues to work out." "There is a certain appeal to stopping in the middle of a fight to taunt your opponents on all their failings and your own genius," the Kage mused aloud. "But just the same, it wouldn't do to underestimate them, and there is a time and place for everything, and the middle of the Chunin exam is certainly not it." "I just love it how none of the rules we teach our genin ever apply once they grow up and start fending for themselves," Kakashi sighed. "Once they get to a certain level, they more or less know how to keep themselves alive and finish their missions, so they deserve a little leeway," Minato declared. "Whereas if we didn't have these rules in place, all of the genin would get themselves killed soon after graduation, and that would be a disaster." "I know," the Kage concurred. "Think of all the paperwork. And the poor innocent dead children, right?" Minato prompted. The Kage looked startled. "What? Oh, right. Dead children means you need replacements, and training them can be very time-consuming." "And people say, Kanahas, the strange one," Minato said, shaking his head in amusement. "Given how little the other nations seem to care about the shinobi, we kind of are," Kakashi pointed out. "It's not all bad, though, as we can pretty much do whatever we feel like, and as long as we don't proudly announce it, we still easily retain our title of the nice one." "It's a good thing you have increased your security, Hokage-sama," Itachi told him. "What's that?" Minato asked. "Because aside from Kakashi, the only one who bet on Sakura was Tsunade Hime," Itachi replied. Minato and Kakashi exchanged horrified looks, and even the Kazekage looked a bit freaked out.
I'm telling you, we're not late!
Naruto insisted as he finally made his way towards the arena.
Otherwise, at the very least, my Sasuke clone would have dispersed and let me know!
Maybe something happened, Sasuke suggested. Because I really don't see Sakura being able to hold Neji off for this long.
Maybe he started monologuing again!
Naruto offered. Sasuke stared at him. Monologuing? Are you serious?
Naruto nodded. He used to be pretty bad with those. He nearly gave Hinata a nervous breakdown during the prelims, and then made sure to give me his life story during the finals, right before insisting I could never understand what it's like to be an outcast.
Sasuke snorted. You, an outcast. Perish the thought.
And at this timeline, he'd be right,
Naruto said.
Still, it is rather strange. He was one of maybe 5 people who didn't know who I was before meeting me. Then again, I suppose people my age often missed the adults going around complaining about me every time anything ever went wrong in their lives.
No, they just preferred he was that fox brat, and no one who didn't know about the Kyuubi had any idea who they were talking about. Sasuke clarified.
Oh!
Naruto blinked.
That was one way to get around that. Don't talk about the Kyuubi edict, I suppose. But seriously, Neji's monologuing was practically infamous after the exams. You sure you don't remember?
Naruto, Sasuke said patiently. After my prelim fight, I went through a sealing ritual and was unconscious, and I didn't show up at the finals until my fight. After the invasion, I was busy dealing with the aftermath and our lack of a Hokage, and then I was comatose until I left. By the time I got back, Neji was clearly over monologuing. So how could I possibly be expected to know this?
It's your fault for leaving in the first place!
Naruto sniffed. Sasuke rolled his eyes. That may have been the least convincing reason for me to stay I've ever heard. Naruto looked sheepish.
Yeah, well, trust me, the fight could very well not have even started yet the way Neji can carry on.
They were walking past the stands and towards the balcony where they were supposed to be when they were stopped by a woman with pink hair. Pardon me, she said, but you are Sakura's teammates, right? Uchiha Sasuke and Namikaze Naruto? That's us, Sasuke confirmed. Are you a relative of hers? I am her mother, Haruno Momoke, and this is my husband, Kisuke, Momoko introduced, gesturing to a man standing to her left. We've heard a lot about you, Kisuke told them.
Nothing illegal, I hope.
Naruto said, I'm serious. No! Momoko laughed, clearly thinking he was joking. And all good, aside from something about a ramen obsession and an obsessive vengeance streak.
Hey, I don't believe in vengeance!
Naruto objected, and I don't even really like ramen, Sasuke added. Momoko shrugged. Well, I don't know what to tell you. We wanted to thank you for helping Sakura out these past few months, Kisuke told them. We've never had a ninja in the family, and you are both from shinobi clans. Sakura has wanted to be a ninja ever since she met the little Yamanaka girl, Ino. But we really didn't know what that involved, and we were worried that she would be in over her head and would get hurt. Now she's apparently facing off against prodigies and training under legendary medics. For whatever part you played in helping our daughter get to this point, we thank you, Momoko said sincerely.
Don't worry about it,
Naruto said a little awkwardly. Whatever part they played, making her feel useless, abandoning her for Oto and then the Akatsuki, or leaving on a 3-year training trip, somehow he doubted that was what Sakura's parents expected their roles to be. We were glad to help a talented girl like Sakura reach her potential, Sasuke said diplomatically. I'm up next though, so... Oh, of course, Momoko said. Tell Naruto congratulations for making it this far, and we're proud of her, would you?
I guess the match is over then,
Naruto mused.
It's a shame she lost before we could see her fight, but... Oh!
Naruto blinked as his clones dispelled and he absorbed the memories of the fight.
Sasuke! Sakura, actually!
No, Sasuke said impatiently. I've got to get up there so I can get called down for my fight. About time you guys showed up, Sakura said once they reached the balcony. Did you see any of my fight at all? It's not my fault that Naruto wouldn't stop eating, or that you couldn't hold Neji off long enough for us to get here, Sasuke insisted, or, I suppose, start him monologuing. Naruto was sure that would buy enough time. Well, it was taking a while, Sakura admitted, but then Obito threatened to take drastic measures if we didn't just hurry up and fight.
Your parents say congrats and that they're proud of you,
Naruto told her.
Although I don't get why you told her I was obsessed with vengeance and Sasuke was obsessed with ramen.
Oh, so my parents decided to show up after all? Sakura asked, delighted. Excellent, but I'm never said that. Your parents told us you did, Sasuke countered. I said Naruto was the ramen freak and Sasuke had revenge issues, Sakura clarified.
Oh!
Naruto said,
That would make more sense then!
I can see how they'd be proud of you for making it to the finals, but as to why they congratulate you for losing, maybe you did well enough you'll get promoted anyway, Sasuke guessed. You better have, because if you're the reason I have to discover the springtime of youth, then I swear I didn't lose, Sakura told him. Sasuke blinked. What do you mean you didn't lose? I mean I won, Sakura replied. Is that really so hard to believe? Sasuke shook his head sadly. Poor Sakura. She must have been so utterly crushed, she's become delusional. Oh, that is so it! Someone hand me something sharp! Sakura ordered. I'm kind of disturbed that this team's turning out to be more homicidal than ours, Tamari confessed. And that they're apparently giving Gaara friendship lessons.